Good evening and welcome. Chris Upton in the house. My hair's going curly. I should have combed it, shouldn't I? I'm looking all right. Tramp. Honestly, I'm looking terrible. I've never looked so bad. I'm looking older every day. Anyway, how are you lot? How are you all doing? So let's start from the top, shall we? Here we go. Earthbound Pheasant first in the house. Whoa, bloody hell. Good evening. Jim Townsend, good evening. Good evening. Graham Allison, good evening. Daniel Quinn, good evening. Daniel's driving in his van, delivering, I hope. Denver Skinner, good evening to you. Matt Crew, good evening. Michael McLaughlin, good evening. Peter Taylor, good evening. This message has been held for review. Yes, video's excellent. Thought the dummy hold one was brilliant. Chris' language was fucking terrible. Tell me about it. Do you know what? I looked at that. I thought, shall I edit it? And I thought, no. And what it is when somebody has spent a couple of days with me and they've done me editing, and the one thing with Fireman Sam, he was brilliant at doing that. He was a classic. He was a classic at doing that. And the frustration, the questions he'd give me, instead of just doing it and seeing the difference, sometimes you're up there a little bit. And so that's when my language comes out. And perhaps that's because of the environment I come from, that lots of people speak like that. It doesn't mean you're horrible people, but I try and moderate myself as much as possible. But if I moderated myself completely, I wouldn't be the real Chris Upton, would I? I wouldn't be the real Chris Upton. Anyway, I thought the same about the language on that one, but I stuck it up anyway. How about that? I mean, you look at Gordon Ramsay. Look at Gordon. Can you see these grey hairs on my eyebrows? You know what that is, don't you? Lockdown with Sue. Sue's in the house, everybody. She's sitting there just sniggering. Grey hairs on your eyebrows. Like is it what that politician Healy was his name? Loving Wiz video to Little Pocket Rocket. Do you know, it was a sad day the other day. It was a sad day because I took him out. I think I actually said it on Corleone Talk or something, or I said it on one of the live feeds. I actually said I went out with Jeffro and there were 3-4 birds in the field and put the dogs out and they put their heads down the hunting and blew the stop whistle, and it was my brood bitch, so it wasn't a bitch that I've trained a lot. She's a brood bitch and she's absolutely lovely. You can shoot over her really comfortably, but her and Wiz, and I blew the stop whistle and they didn't stop, and I thought, oh my god. And there's me, a teacher, so you know, I do confess sometimes that sometimes it can be embarrassing, especially when you're a teacher, and that didn't happen. Anyway, I then took Wiz out to do a bit of a funny video for you to try and lighten the atmosphere of what it's all like at the moment with this lockdown, and everyone's like looking forward to being let loose again, aren't we? And he was absolutely useless, and I thought exactly what I said. He's going deaf on me. And because we've not done much for 12 months with Wiz, because obviously I've been training other dogs, and because of the lockdown, I then looked at his date of birth. I looked up his paperwork, and I said, Sue, I can't believe it. Where's the time gone? Where has the time gone? So it's funny because today, I think, or yesterday, I put up a video of Wiz when he was 4. And didn't he look so much sharper and so much better? And like I was saying to someone on one of the live feeds, you know, you go through working your dog and it's 18 months old, 2 years old. It's still a young dog. And yes, I've had dogs that have won trials at, I think 16 months old is the youngest dog I've won a trial with. But some dogs that I've taken out, I haven't trialed them until they're 2.5. And then they've gone and won, but they were more experienced then with a bit of knowledge. With Wiz, for instance, I think he was 4 before he was at his best. 4 years of age. He was a nervous wreck when I bought him. A nervous wreck, but had a good breeding. But it's nice to see the videos of the past, isn't it? But what a shame, because Wiz would have been the most viewed Gundog, I think, on the internet with the amount of videos that I had put up over the last 5-6 years of him. Because when we talk about technology and we talk about the difference in what's happened with the GoPros and how they've changed and how technology has changed and how we can store memory now compared to what we used to, it's amazing, isn't it, that technology's moved on a hell of a lot in the last 10 years for the internet and be able to put up better quality videos. When you look at my videos of 10 years ago, when I was using a Sony camcorder that was like £2,000, the video footage was nowhere near as good as the GoPro. The GoPro has revolutionized actually being able to put up videos, and some of your videos that you put up were excellent. The quality of them were fantastic for the test, and I think that's the way that marketing is going, isn't it? As in, it's become internet based, doesn't it? It's become internet based. If you can put up videos for me while the lockdown was on, I could give you more insight into, how to get your dog better. I think someone sent me, I won't mention the name, but someone sent me a message saying, how do I get my dog hunting tighter? Well, this could be 100 different reasons, couldn't there, why you need to get that dog hunting tighter. But if you sent me a video, if you took your time and sent me a video, and not a phone where it's upside down and 1 minute you're walking across in this direction, you don't see the dog, but if you took a GoPro and you actually videoed it and sent me the GoPro footage, I'd be able to have a far better insight into giving you some good advice. So, it works both ways. If you can't give me the input, I can't give you the feedback. I don't just make assumptions on, oh, my dog's dropping the dummy, what do I do? There could be a number of reasons why the dog's dropping a dummy. Hi, lovelies, says Sol. Paul Jarvis. Was that in chat with Andy? Yeah, but keep that quiet, Paul. Keep that quiet. As you can see, we're not... that was when we were going through the shit with that Macbeth woman. You know the Macbeth woman, don't you? The Scottish play.
Andy says he remembers that trip. He was fantastic on the rabbits. He's so sharp.
Who, Andy?
Yeah.
Andy was so sharp.
No, it was silly.
Andy was so sharp. Wiz was sharp. but it was nice to find those videos that they were on YouTube. But I've managed. I'm still looking through lots and lots of videos to put up, and I got to edit them again and all that where they were on YouTube. And it's been nice to come across some of them. And I thought about putting a couple of videos up with Andy's dog that he's just lost as a memory to him. And I can put them up if Andy says yes, please, and I will put them up because his black and white dog. He was with us with his black and white dog that he's just lost, and that's it. Not far from your home country, John, is it? About 20 miles down the road from your home country, really, wasn't it, boy? I mean, I bet you recognise some of them sheep and the lipstick. At the end of the day, it was new to Andy. Yeah, he said, yes, please, I'll stick him up, Andy. I was looking at him and I thought, should I? Will it upset you too much, mate? But at least you've got the memories then, haven't you? Chris, it breaks my heart that your YouTube history was deleted. Not only lost to the trial, but good customers are allowed your videos and training sessions, me included. Exactly, Chris. Exactly. It was a real shame. But life moves on. And I actually shared something on Patreon that wasn't dog related as such, but it was about learning to cope with pressure and how to deal with pressure and how to cope with failure and things that go wrong in your life. And there's so many people getting down and depressed. And I understand completely with this lockdown, it's been quite emotional for a lot of people, I think, in different ways. It's affected us in different ways. It's definitely affected me having Sue here all that time. I love her dearly, but it's definitely made me realize that, a man and a woman are definitely not compatible all the time. You know what I mean? I love her dearly, and we've had some great times as well. And I bet she's glad to get back to work in a way, aren't you, Sue?
I'm freaking knackered today.
She was knackered today. She went back to work today. She's going back.
So unfit.
Unfit. She's got to start moving around that bookies. She's got no one to serve at the moment. She's in the bookies on her own, but she felt knackered. She's done nothing. Oh, she was cleaning.
This is it.
This is it. But that's the problem, isn't it? We've all had this lockdown. Well, a lot of us had this lockdown, and we've been, with our loved ones, hopefully. And some of us haven't been with our loved ones. We've been isolated. So You know, it's been different for all of us, isn't it? I haven't been going to the places I would normally go because I don't want to upset any other farmers if they see me on their ground when the lockdown was on. So hopefully we're gonna get ourselves back together again. I mean, we're now taking in lessons, one-to-ones, as long as you don't have to stay here. When is it they can actually stay here, Sue?
17th of May, you can actually go to somebody's house and stay over.
Yeah, so 17th of May, we're taking bookings again for the caravan. From Haley Cartwright. Good evening, all. Karen on Haley, because my phone has died. There you go. Well done. One of the things that Karen pointed out, some people have been having problems not watching videos on Patreon for some reason, and Karen brought up a good subject and said, have you had to change your bank card details? Has it gone out of date, or you've changed your bank card? If you have, then you have to go down that road and reinstate your new bank card details on the Patreon site, and then it'll allow you back in. If you're using a card that's out of date, that can be one of the problems. And Karen actually pointed that out, and someone said, right, they tried that and then it worked. So a number of you have been saying you've been having problems with logging in on Android phones or something. Eaton Must says a thing about failure. I think others have said it before. It's not the failing that matters; it's what you do with it. What you do with it next. Yeah, but I don't think it's not just that. So I agree with what you're saying there. I think it's to do with stress, isn't it? And how the internet and how it's created more of a. Everybody's picking up the phone. Everyone's picking up the internet. It's going ping, 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 ping. And some people can cope with it and some people can't cope with it. And to some people, it can become quite stressful, like multitasking, trying to do 3 or 4 things. That's why I think, personally, when we look at this new Gundog app that's coming out with Ben Randall, you know, if you're trying to train your dog and then you're trying to look at your phone at the same time, it's going to cause you a lot of grief, isn't it, if you're not careful? Hey, but you never know. It may be the revolution thing of the century. But he's not the first to do it, is he? There's Gundog apps out there and there's dog training apps out there. So he's not the first to do it. But when I actually looked at some of the teasers for his videos, it's all flash and no substance. Now, I don't want to get into a fight with anybody about that subject, but at the end of the day, I would like to see a bit of fair competition, someone who's actually saying it the way it is. But unfortunately, they're not out there, are they? They want to put up the gloss, exactly what Paul Jarvis says. It's all gloss, isn't it? You know, if I just give you a picture and I put a picture up on Patreon and I ask people a question, you know, what is he actually doing? Why did you take that picture? What was it asked? What was it trying to show? You know, I believe that a good bit of competition makes other trainers work harder. It makes them pull their finger out. So if he was showing you stuff that I'd never learned or didn't know about or was hiding from Joe Public because I've decided at this moment in time I need to tell people trade secrets that I've never told anybody before. When you listen to his patter, some of his patter is quite strange, really, because it's like me, and yet it's not about the dogs. So come on, Ben. If you're going to do it. Let's see it. Let's see it. And like I say, there's no point just talking about it. You've got to get out there and do it. But the thing is, he may be cleverer than me because he may just be tapping into that certain amount of people. Does the app show desirable different forms of levels of discipline? No, I don't think it will show any forms of discipline, because Ben talks about that he doesn't use food to teach dogs. And then I know a customer that has come to me was telling me that Ben told him to use food and charged him for the information. Why would you be using food for a dog not coming back when a dog is taking over? At the end of the day, the app been in final stages for 3 months. Anyone know if I can shoot a blank pistol on a public ground? Well, it depends where the public ground is, Denver, and hope it's orange. Make sure it's orange. Whatever you do, make sure it's orange, else you may get shot. One of the things that I wasn't very happy with is I applied for my shotgun license to be renewed. I was very disappointed that it wasn't renewed on time, so I've had to ask for a special license, and hopefully now the police have got their finger out. But you know, if I just went through life and just couldn't be bothered to renew my shotgun license, then I would be in the wrong. And yet I renewed my shotgun license well within time, and it's running late. Dave Bonzo, I wouldn't recommend that, Dave. Yeah, if it's orange on a public ground. Well, what's a public ground? Are we talking about a park? Well, you're going to upset some people, aren't you? But it's a good subject to talk about, because I know we had one guy here, Denver, who was firing his dummy launcher across the public park at 5 o'clock in the morning before he went to work with his dog, and then wondered why the police turned up. He was living in Arsenal, in Wembley, in West Ham, I think.
David Bolden when advised at Denver. Michael McLaughlin says Denver wouldn't do that. You will have the tactical firearms out.
There's nothing wrong with going to a bit of waste ground when not many people are and using it there. But is that a public place? I mean, I wouldn't go down to the local park and pull out a gun. You might be lying on your face in the mud, and they might have the police helicopter come down. But you know, you just got to be sensible with it. But make sure whatever you do that you've got an orange blank pistol, not one of the old black ones, because I tell you what, you'll cause yourself all sorts of problems if you pull that out and start firing it around the place. But to be honest with you, I do it on farms, I do it on tracks, I do it on roadways. But you have to be sensible with it. It's, you know, as simple as that. Question: what age do you introduce starter pistol dummy launchers? Been wondering that for a while, says Jimmy Townsend. Well, starting pistol, I tend to do, got a field with no park on it. Can I go to? Yeah, that's what I would do. Just try and get yourself away from everybody, and then you don't seem to cause a problem. But if anyone comes to you, explain to them it's a dummy, it's a starting pistol, but don't point it at them. Whatever you do, don't get angry. Keep calm.
Jethro Jackson said, "Who's that then?" To your question of
who's that then? Yeah, Jethro. I wonder who that is. I wonder who that is. Yeah, well, he is cleverer than you in one way. Yeah, he definitely is. He knows where the money is, and you know, harvest it. But I think the motivation is different to his. Well, I think that's important. So I think that's important. I think that I'm doing it for the people. I'm doing it for the dogs. Yes, we've got to make money. But someone said to me the other day, who's coming for a lesson, how much do you charge? And when I told them, they said that's very reasonable. But if someone wants to give me a tip and say there's an extra tenner or something like that, that's very much appreciated. Or a bottle of whiskey. But the thing is, I love it. I love what I do for a living, and I think I class myself as privileged. But when you come here, you're going to get warts and all. If you bring a bottle of whiskey, we can drink it. If you bring a bottle of gin, we can drink it. But I'm not serving you gin and tonics and smiling at you and giving you lovey-dovey comments and giving you kisses and going, hello, darling, you know. And I'm not looking for film stars to work with. At the end of the day, I work with normal people. I work with the average woman or bloke who just wants a nice little well-trained gun dog, and I don't feed bullshit. And if you notice that when I put up the video with Andy, you know, and I was explaining, you've got to know when you can put pressure on a client and when you can't put pressure on a client. And it was exactly the same as Fireman Sam, John Wilson. He was such a lovely chap, but he'd argue non-stop. Andy never argued. Sometimes you had to poke him with a stick to get him motivated a little bit, but that's because of his nature, because he can hold back, and he may be seething underneath, but he doesn't show it. Other people would react straight away and get quite teasy, and all people are different. Everybody I ever meet walking through that gate is different. We have some people full of shite and they can't train a dog to save their lives. That's not being rude. That's reality. That's life. Then we get the person comes in and thinks they're no good, and actually they're quite good with a dog, and they've got a good understanding, and they can read a dog quite well, and their movement and their timing, but they lack confidence. And the thing is, your dog picks that up. Your dog picks up somebody who lacks confidence. Then we get the people who they think their dog's the best thing since sliced bread, and it's not. But they've been to the wrong people training, and they've told them it is. Well, you'd keep going back there, wouldn't you? Sit down with canopies and a glass of fizz. Yeah, stick with a brew soup. There you go. That's not happening here, Ian. I try and let everybody have a nice time when they come here.
Sounds nice, though, doesn't it?
Sue said it sounds nice. Honestly, Ian, you've started a craze now.
Canopies in a bowl.
Canopies. Would that be something fishy?
Before you get distracted on something else,
Do you know what? Hear that? Before you get distracted on something else.
Because Jim Tyson said, Chris, you got distracted and didn't answer.
Go on then.
His question: what stage, age do you introduce a starter pistol dummy launcher? I've been wondering for a while. Then you got distracted.
Sorry about that, Jim. Sorry, it's Jim.
Yeah, I let it into you.
She let it into me. Sounds very rude, doesn't it? Let it into me. I think this is. There's givers and takers in this house, and I'm not one. Okay, shut up, Chris. Jim Townsend, that's the question. What stage, not age? What stage? Age. Do you introduce a starting pistol dummy launcher? Just been wondering for a while. Well, I'd say about 8 months. 8 months. You could do it at 6 months, but you want to do it at a distance. But I sometimes don't do it till 12 months. Each dog's different, but I don't set a date. At 7 months old, I'm going to fire a starting pistol over your dog. But I guarantee this: if you have not fired anything over your dog at 15 months of age, and it's never heard a bang, and you do that, that's when your dog can start being a bit like, oh, what the hell was that? Because the dogs go through that learning curve, and I think at 6 to 8 months, they can cope with it as long as you do it sensibly, as long as you do it at a distance. If they are a bit funny with it, you've got to rethink the situation. But you don't come across it very many problems. I'll give you a tip for the National on Saturday. Listen, your last horse you give us was a bag of shite, Peter Taylor. Right? It came about 16th out of 17, wasn't it? It's 4-1 for the Grand National. 4-1?
That'd be nearly favourite.
What do you mean nearly favourite? The Grand National, not one horse should be under 10-1 with 30 runners, should it? Hey Peter, did you see that? Did you see that bloke who won that card quiz thing on?
Yeah, Jim Tyson said that Cheltenham tip, and he got little emoji like, you know.
See what I mean? I'm trying to talk, and what happens? Her in the background, who needs to be listened to, can't stop. I was explaining about the bloke with Betfred, who won 1.9 million. And it took him 3 years to pay him out. And he said it was like when they didn't give me the payout, they said it was something wrong with setting it up or something. He said it took 3 years. He said when they stopped the bet, he said I took a picture of the bet. I thought brilliant, 1.9 million. And he said it took 3 years. He said it was like opening your mouth and ripping your heart out. Imagine that. Imagine that you had an accumulator and every horse went in. They went, no, I'm not paying you. Poor little man. That's what he said. It was like this poor man taking on the big dogs. Oh, terrible, isn't it? Imagine that, eh? Imagine that.
The Mayhem stuff question.
Jesus Christ. Do you know what? I don't know why we don't call this a Sue Upton show.
You do say, have you got any questions?
She's getting better, isn't she? She's getting better, everyone. The pressure I put on this woman. William George Webb. Hi, Chris. Did you watch any of Chris Fraser's live yesterday? Looks like Penn got a mention. Didn't see it, no.
One above.
Didn't see it. Oh, one above now. One above. Lee Mayhew, 9-month-old Springer Spaniel, retrieving tennis balls, so moved on to rabbit skin dummy. Now drive shot up and not releasing very well, and excitement growl. Not intense, just the same to play. Should I stop? Yeah, stop it, Lee. 9 months old, as long as it's carrying it, don't worry about it. Let it mature up a little bit, make nothing of it, and you'll not have a problem. If you make something of it, you will create a problem. As simple as that. Go back to your dummies. As long as the dog likes retrieving the dummies or the tennis ball without a rabbit skin, don't worry. We only want to make sure the dog will carry it. It's a bit of a dominance thing because it's like this is high value, so not a problem. I'll stick to trading sports bets on the exchange. Yeah, they are not bookies now, Chris. They don't take any risks. Exactly. That's it. Betfred. Honestly. The Cheltenham tip. Do you know what? I didn't even have a bet in the Irish Grand National because I was so busy. We took Sue out down to St Ives. And I tell you what, we went down to St Ives. I just had to get out. You know, I've been dealing with so many different things with the yard, the solicitors, the planning authorities, everything. Like, it just got too much to me, and I just had to get out. And so I said, "Come on, we're going out." So we went out, and we went down to St Ives. It was blowing a freaking hoolie. We did see a seal in the harbour. We queued up for chips, fish and chips, and it was like being dive bombed by freaking seagull after seagull after seagull. I got shit on once at Mevagizzy by a seagull. Right, I got shit on, and I've got this paranoia about eating my fish and chips and a seagull coming in. They do it on purpose. They come in and swoop, and that's another thing there. See that? See that? I burnt myself there. Everyone, see that? Honestly, I'm a master chef, and I burnt myself. Anyway, so yeah, I sat tentatively protecting my piece of fish on the front of St Ives. I thought I'm never ever having a piece of fish and chips on St Ives. We actually had to hide on some steps and keep my lid closed until I wanted a chip. Open it, grab the chip, because the seagulls were coming in and landing on the roof next to us and just looking down, going, "Ah, ah!" I'll tell you what, I wish I'd had my starting pistol. So anyway, that was me trip down to St Ives. I don't know why I said that. There was a reason on here. I think I said I had to get out or something, didn't I? And so then we went then across the other coast, St Michael's Mount, down at Penzance, and it was flat calm, wasn't it, Sue? It was beautiful. It was like a summer's day because the wind was on the other coast coming down from north, and it was the sea was up, and it was unbelievable. The seagulls were just like aquaplaning in the air, like, you know. I think we should do it. Do you know what? I think we should do a yearly call. Here she is, the birthday girl's in the house. Was it yesterday?
Yeah.
Birthday was yesterday. How old was she? 37, wasn't she?
43.
She's not 43.
No, she's 33.
33, Katie. My little darling daughter's 33. Makes me feel freaking old, you lot. Anyway, do you know what she said today? I had to go down because I put the car in to have the brakes, new brake discs on the front of the car from the garage that I bought the car from, and I had to go and get the bus in to Saltash because Sue was at work, and I was walking down the road, and Kate pulls up and says, "What are you doing?" I said, "You going to She said, "I am actually." I said, "Give us a lift." She said, "What are you doing?" What she say? What did she call me? A bus slut? A bus slut? I don't go on buses. A bus slut. I got a mask on. I got earphones on. Listen to me. She says, "What do you do with earphones on?" So I said, I don't like buses. I don't like buses. I don't get on buses. I'd rather stand on the back with a rope and just get towed down the road. I don't like buses. Anyway, so she gives a lift into Saltash. Thank Christ for that. I thought I was going to have to catch a frigging bus. Honestly, like an old age. I think I'd ask old age pension price. Can you get on a bus with old age pension at 60?
Can you what?
What do you mean gulls are protected for some species for crazy reason? Bloody hell. If they're protected, how come they put spikes everywhere? They could not sit on the freaking lights and all that shit. No wonder they're just flying around non-stop trying to dive bomb everyone. It's like, you bastards, you try and prick us. They decoy really well though. Yeah, I bet they do. But there's freaking millions of them. How do they work that one out? Exactly. 33. 30 bloody 3, your daughter. And that's my youngest. That's our youngest. It's unbelievable, isn't it? Our youngest is 33.
Oh, baby. Actually, she's still a baby, isn't she?
Yeah, but the thing is, Michael McLaughlin, when you do, years and years ago, they scream like crazy if you don't kill them outright, don't they? Can you say that on here? I'll probably have another visit now. Anyway, that was when I was 12.
We have a question from Paul Jarvis.
Yeah, a bus wanker, she said. That's what she called me, a bus wanker. Your own daughter. Oh my God, my dad's a bus wanker. And you wonder where I get my bad language from.
We have a question.
That's Sue for you, that is. We have a question. Sue wants to mention a question. Come on then.
No, because it's quite rare. We have a question from Paul Jarvis. How do you stop a dog from being trained lead-wise? He behaves when he's on the line and plays up when I take it off.
I don't know what you mean.
Shall I read it again?
No, how do you stop a dog from being trained lead-wise? He behaves when he's on the line and plays up when he's off the line. You're talking about a long line, or we're just talking about going for a walk for a lead?
Sounds like a lead.
See, she's now getting involved in training, and she's never been very good at giving advice on training.
Oh, I don't know that.
See this? No, she doesn't know nothing. See what happens? Look, as soon as you get the lockdown, I say one thing, and it's offensive.
No, I'm true.
Thumbs up, says Lars Brooklyn. And looking good. Who's looking good? Paul Simon Spruce. Who's looking good?
Katie.
Oh my God, you perv. Training lead long line.
Training lead long line.
All right. Well, that's a breakdown in your training. As simple as that, Paul Jarvis. That's. I think you need to book a lesson in with Sue. It's been a while, but she's not been on the long line for a while, and she knows what to do now. What's Sue's favourite dog breed?
Well, I
thought you were going to say dog feed.
Well, I would have to go for my cant because that was my first dog. But my next one, my favourite one that I want is a border terrier.
She wants a border terrier. Freaking £2,500. She can dream for a minute. I'm waiting until they come down for bargain basement prices again. Cairn Terrier. Okay, so any more questions? Come on, any more questions? I mean, I can't really help you, Paul, unless you send me a video. If you send me a video of what your dog's doing on the line and then what he's not doing on the line, I might be able to help you. And then you'll be, as you're going down the road in that lorry of yours, you'll be able to listen to my comments. Seeing the drawing of the grandkids, nice to have that. Yeah, it was nice, wasn't it? It was nice. It's memories, isn't it? It's memories, and they shoot up so quick. I mean, you know, when we first come here, the older one, Alex, with a cap on the picture, he was a baby. You know, they just grow up so quick. But it's not that; it's where time goes, isn't it? Because I was going back to Wiz, and the technology of the way we've moved forward with technology. Wouldn't it have been wonderful if you could have saved, or I could have saved the whole history of my training, from trialing, watching my winning dogs, watching the difference between my winning dogs and my shooting dogs, watching how, you know, as you get older, your attitude changes. Andy Stead's a fine example of that. When I first met Andy and Campbell, it was like going out with hillbillies. They were more interested in shooting anything that gets up at any distance, because normally they wouldn't have a dog hunting close anyway. And when I was like, oh my God, Jesus Christ, but they could kill stuff at a distance because they were having to learn to shoot at a distance. And Andy does clay shooting as well. But it was a matter of teaching Andy that, you know, where to shoot and how to shoot over a dog. And he had to learn all that over the years, and it was nice to see him develop and change. And Andy will say the same thing. He will tell you that the contact flush and watching a bird away and watching the dog watch the bird away, it gives you as much buzz as you get older once you've done so much killing. You know, killing's not the most important thing, and yet to train dogs to a good standard, you've got to shoot over them. As simple as that.
Did you see John Cooper's video on Call and Talk with Rogan giving him the dummy?
Yes, I did.
Thumbs up.
A lot better, wasn't it? Lot better. And well done to you for sticking at it. And if you think about it, the lockdown's done you good, because you were thinking of dropping the dog off here and letting me train the dog for you, and yet you persevered with it, and your now dog is showing so much more quality. He's not being nasty. He went through that stage, and that's the important thing, what people have got to understand. Would he have done it to me? No, he wouldn't, because I would have showed him leadership, not dominance, leadership. But well done, John Cooper, and that's Harley's brother that John Cooper's got, and it was nice to see the video. I did put a thumbs up. Well done. Someone's called me a wanker. I said, pity your dad wasn't. Simon.
I like that.
Sue like that. You tosser.
I must remember that.
Oh, she'll have to remember that when someone comes in the shop and gives a stick. Okay, just make sure there is a sky between the bird, so it's no low. There you go.
Oh, I've got one from Soul.
Come on then, Sue's going to read this one out. She loves Dr. Soul.
Okay.
We have we have the Americans have their soul singers. We have our soul singers. Come on, Soul. Come on, Sue's going to read it out.
Okay. One from me. New pup, 12 weeks now. Put it into the crate several times a day for a couple of hours at a time. Howls like a banshee and then settles. Then howls again. That's pointed for you.
Well, she's even answering them now, so. Okay, let's go through this one again, shall we? Soul. Okay, one from me. New pup, 12 weeks old. It's 12 weeks old, for Christ's sake. Now put it into a crate several times a day. So you let it out most of the rest of the day, do you? Howls like a banshee, and then settles, and then howls again. Switch your radio on. Put him in a spare room. Don't make nothing of it, and it'll soon stop. That's as simple as that. It will stop. Put a radio on. But the problem is, the more attention, the more freedom you give the pup, the more pup will want freedom.
Michael McLaughlin says, Soul, that howling is a GSP thing.
Not always. Not always. We've had GSPs here. We stop that behaviour. Leave to cry. You said it was howling. It wasn't crying, was it? Now you're saying it's crying.
Leave to cry, question mark.
No,
Yeah.
he means leave it to cry. Yeah.
Yes.
Hear that in the background, Sol? She's got no heart. She's got no heart. Yep. Why can't you put it in with the other dogs? Why can't you put it in with the other dogs? That's what I asked the question. Why can't you put it in with another dog? Don't give it attention when it howls. There you go. It's not howling, it's crying now. It was howling, now it's crying. Yeah, the more you rub the belly, the more you give it attention, the more you talk to it, the more you tell it to be quiet, the more it will kick off. You have to ignore the bad behavior, turn up the radio and pretend it's not happening, and
He's
it will.
getting soft now, he's a granddad.
Yeah, that's what Sue says. You're getting soft because you're a granddad. This is the problem. As we get older, we get more biddable. Aren't I getting more biddable, Sue, since the lockdown?
No.
Hear that, everyone? No.
No hesitation. No.
Do you see that? I've done everything for that woman since the lockdown. Everything. I've done. She hasn't made a meal. I asked her to make me some hot cross bun the other day, and she cried. Like Chris said, why not put it with the older ones? There you go. With the other dogs, not a squeak, just created on its own and kicked off. Well, why make a big thing of it? Why not just put it with the other dogs? It wants the company of the pack. There you go. So, problem solved. We've solved the problem through a roundabout way. That's what most bits of dog training is. And then Sol now will come back and give us a reason why he doesn't want to pair him up with another dog. The company, I got Sean's little pup here. He doesn't even kick off, and I feel sorry for him. So I put the bitch in with him, and I put the bitch out with him this morning, and he jumped on the bitch, and she snapped at him, but he still jumped up at her, and they just got to learn. And I told the bitch off. I said, "Hey, don't do that to that little pup. He's only trying to be friendly. He's as good as gold." But I still feel that a dog. It's nice to have company for another dog, isn't it? Colin, cover the crate with a blanket, with only a small gap to see out of. That's it. Be like that. That's why they call them pointers. Stop it. See what she called me? Did you hear that? She called me a TWAT, and we're talking about bad language. And do you know what? Half the time she says to me, "I don't like you when you use that word. I don't like it when." It's all right for her to use that word, isn't it? Live on telly.
I meant to say twit,
but she didn't say twit, did she?
But the A came out instead.
But the A come out. Honestly, I love it when she talks dirty. Kerry says, "Give it a treat when it doesn't cry," or ignore all negative behaviour. Do you know what? I have seen work. I've seen somebody, the dog wouldn't stop barking and howling and crying, and they got down on all fours and howled and barked louder and lay on their back, and the dog just looked at them like, you sap. I thought, no, I don't think that's a good idea. I found out very quick that the pup in with the Springer only issue. The pup tortures the Springer. Do you know what? Some of them do it, and it's funny how dogs just put up with it, isn't it? As in, older dogs will put up with it for so long, won't they? It's like when we go out in the field with the little pup and he's jumping on top of them and they're having a crap. They just stand there and take it, don't they? Dogs are so forgiving, and yet they will turn sharp if they think there's back off. You're now pushing the boundaries, but they'll do it with an older dog. But they're not nowhere near as judgmental with a young dog, are they? They're a lot more forgiving. They seem to know, don't they, that it's a pup, for Christ's sake. Don't make nothing of it. Q, my pointer, has started to bark as a guard defense. There you go. When he sees anyone near the house, he doesn't bark at strangers when we're out. Is it okay, or do I stop it, or is it normal for pointers? Do you know what, Robert? I've never had enough pointers here to tell you whether it's normal or not, to be honest with you. The pointers I've had, I treat them the same as every other dog. If you're going to kick off in that kennel, you're going to get a negative for it. Lucky I sport you with the best chocolate egg from Waitrose hot cross buns. I've had a better than Mum. Do you know what? There's competition between these two, isn't there?
I bought you a friggin' £8.
She bought me. Here we go. Now it's a friggin'. Now she wants to go friggin'. It's a friggin' egg now from Thornton's. A friggin' egg. No, it's nothing to do with a friggin' egg. It's friggin' in the rigging, isn't it? That was Sex Pistols. But I don't think she even knows what friggin' means.
I bought you an £8 egg.
She doesn't even know what friggin' in the rigging means. I mean, she's that naive, and she's talking about friggin' eggs.
I bought you an £8 egg. She bought you a £1 one, and you liked hers better. That ain't fair.
Susan bought me a £8 Thornton's egg that had strawberry stripes around it, and it tastes of strawberry. I want a chocolate egg to taste like a chocolate egg. I do not want a ring of strawberries around it. Now, the chocolates were nice. The Thornton's chocolates were nice, but no wonder Thornton's are going under and closing down, because they've gone downhill. Kate goes and buys me a £1 from Lidl flake egg, Cadbury's flake egg, and it was Aero flake egg. It was beautiful. It was only small. It's the thought that counts, but it had those little flaky Aero bubbles inside, and it was beautiful. You wouldn't think this is a dog training site. You'd think this is a fat freaking.
I'm buying you 2 next year.
You'd buy me 2 eggs next year, Sue, from Waitrose.
No, Lidl, £1 each.
I don't mind, because then I could have one day. But what Kate did, she bought me. She's not daft. She knows. It's like that age thing, isn't it? Who's over? Can you just say anybody over 50 here? Just go I. Just go I if you're over 50. I just want to I if you're over 50. You can't beat a Cadbury's cream egg. I do agree with you, Paul. I find them quite sickly though. Cadbury's cream eggs are a little bit too sweet for me. Okay. So now tell me, do you remember curly whirlies? Do you remember as kids getting a curly whirly? What a curly whirly meant to you? A curly whirly was something special, wasn't it? It was chocolatey, you could chew on it, and they still do them, and Kate sends them to me every now and again. Curly whirlies. I obviously treated her well as a child, didn't I? Curly whirlies, yeah. The best curly whirlies. Remember that? Isn't it funny that your childhood memories sometimes kick back? It's like those walnut whirls with a nut on the top. They now give them to me without a fucking nut on the top. Now, at my age, lucky I'm calm and I don't get. How about a wagon wheel, you poor bastard? Remember that song, 3 Wheels on My Wagon, and I'm Still Rolling Along? I hated them wagon wheels. Sorry, curly whirlies.
I like the jam one.
Here we go. The jammy Dodgers.
All right, Kerry's got a question.
Oh, Chris Wheelhouse was mid-40s and he remembers them. So it wasn't as old 60-year-olds that was remembering them then. But do you know what? With the curly whirlies, I don't think they've got much smaller. You know, when you buy a Mars bar now, it's this big, isn't it? You freaking buy a marathon. That's what they call them now. They used to be called Mars bars, didn't they? They're called marathons, aren't they? Oh no, they're Mars. Snickers, that was it. I knew it was something like that. Knickers and Snickers, it's all the same shit, isn't it? I remember when Twix came in two pairs and twice the size. Yeah, exactly. And everything's getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and we're all getting fatter and fatter and fatter. Something not right here, isn't it? I might as well give us a big freaking chocolate bar and we'll stay the right freaking size. Because when I was a kid, I wasn't fat. I wasn't fat till I started reducing the chocolate sizes.
Now you have to buy 2.
What do you mean, Curly Wurlies, you got smaller? You wouldn't freaking remember. You're about 22, John Wilson. You wouldn't remember Curly freaking Wurly when you from 30, 40 years ago.
Kerry's got a question.
I don't think Curly Wurlies have changed. I still think they got the little pattern. About the same, aren't they? 28. 20 bloody 8, you pup. You bloody pup, Curly Wurlies. You got smaller. You know.
Right, Kerry's got a question.
I tell you what, John. They used to remember them gobstoppers used to get. They were massive. They were absolutely massive. Kate used to have them as well. Wagon wheels are the size of 50p. Okay, come on. Any questions? Come on, dog questions. I think this is a sweet shop.
Kerry has got a question.
Should we talk about Havana cigars?
Kerry
Sorry, you never sent me none from Cuba.
Excuse me. Kerry has got a question.
Kerry. Is this Kerry from... Is this Jerry... Ginge? Is this Ginge? Kerry? Or a different Kerry? Is the whistle you use to train your dog a 210.5? Yes, it is. It's the most popular one of all of them, Kerry. But you can get a 211.5 and you can get a silent whistle. I find the silent whistle can chip your teeth. Most people put a bit of pipe over the front of it so you don't chip your teeth. A bit of clear polythene pipe over it. And I don't like them. I don't get on with them. I never have got on with them. And they say they're silent whistles. They're not silent. They're just higher pitch. I've always used a 210.5. Now, I live with them around my neck and I'm training all the time. And they last me about 1.5 years before I wear the end of them out. I've seen Karen's got a gold one. Gold finger. Gary Jago likes a 212. He has to be different, doesn't he, Gary? He has to be freaking different, doesn't he, eh? I bet he don't like tennis rackets. Oh, I bet he's got one now, hasn't he?
No, we've seen him with one now.
He's got one now. He's got a tennis racket now. We've seen him. Yeah. Gary Jago is the only dog trainer that I know who trains in white trainers. Because shit happens, you know. Paul Jarvis, 211.5. Like to be different. There you go, Paul Jarvis.
There's always one.
That's probably why they don't listen to you on off the lead. You need to listen to you on the lead. So we got 61 people in here. 10 thumbs up, you tight Barcelonian bargain hunters. 30, do you know what? I can't believe that. Can you believe that, everyone? Look, listen to this. Look, Katie Upton spent £34 on fudge in Lou yesterday. She is not right in the freaking head. Honestly.
I gave her some money and I said, no, get something that you
Get
want.
something that's important. And she goes, £34 worth of fudge. Can somebody explain to her what fudge will do to a figure? Jesus Christ. Haley Cartwright and live. And I've St. Ives.
Kerry said thank you, and to the lady who reminded you as you were getting too excited about curly Wurlies.
Thank you. And to the lady who reminded you he was getting too excited over curly Wurlies. Yeah, I've got to calm down when it comes to curly Wurlies. Walnut whips, I'll tell you, I'm a different person with a walnut whip. If it's got a knot on the top of it, honestly. I'm telling you. John Wilson, he said, I use a 210.5. Then if that doesn't work, I rustle a packet of I rustle a crisp packet, guaranteed recall. There you go. And there used to be a dog trainer. What was his name again? Harry Hardwick. And he did a video, and he said, if this whistle doesn't work, you use this one. So he used a 210.5. And then he brought out a silent whistle, the silver one. And if that doesn't work, then he brought a football referee. And if that doesn't work, he said he used the word Jesus Christ. Yeah, so there you go. I just always use one. The cigars have been held up in the customs, Chris. I'm really, really freaking gagging for a cigar. So, honestly, I want to ask everybody. Let's ask this question, because it's not a dog training show, really, is it? It's just a general question. We'll talk about sex and diseases you can catch later on. But let's just talk about cigars for a second. Oh no, not cigars. Sol was talking about cigars. Let's talk about this jab you've had. This jab, has it affected any of you in any way? It's affected me, and I'm going to explain to you. But has it affected anybody else? You know, a few weeks after having the jab, or is it just paranoia? Is it just paranoia? Because I've been having hot spots all over my body where you look like that, and you think, bloody hell, it's gone firm. I thought for a second I felt like shit the next day. Yeah, but I didn't felt like shit next day. It was held back from remarks. No, some people did, and some people have said that weeks later they've not felt too good over it. So some of you didn't drink after mine. That might be the difference, Earthbound Pheasant. It may be the difference. It may be why I'm having side effects. I had no symptoms at all. No, I was fine, just an arm ache for a few hours. Well, I never had any of that, but then I'm getting like joint pains. I don't know if any of you had. You need some flea treatment. Thank you, Paul Jarvis. Thank you. Sometimes I do get a bit of an itch. I wonder if that is the case. Thank you for the information you got from us. Richard Gold said. I hope Sue hasn't. It does spread, doesn't it, Paul Jarvis? I mean, Richard Gold, it does spread, doesn't it? Not. See, I knew if we talked about sex, someone would bring up something about.
Richard Gold said I have severe joint pain.
Yeah, exactly.
But Michael McLaughlin said, "Oh,
well, that's the whole point, isn't it? Do you become paranoid and everything that happens, you're thinking, oh shit? Because they're now saying blood clots. You lie down for 5 minutes, you think, I've got a headache. No, I haven't. No, I haven't. Get up. Don't lie down too long. Joint aches. I mean, I'll tell you what, I've not heard from John Archer. I'm a bit concerned about John Archer because he did have the virus. Then he had the jab and he wasn't feeling too well. It's called being old, you bastard. Hey, tell me about it, John. Tell me about it. That's Wiz. He'll tell you the same thing. And I can't believe that people are going, when are you going trialing again, Chris? When are you going climbing Mount Everest? Big Ben. That's what it is. It's called being old, you bastard. I think that's what it is. And I think you become a little bit paranoid. And do you know what I think made the difference as well? We had that nice little bit of a warm spell, didn't we? And I just felt rejuvenated. And I thought, yes, it's springtime. Springtime. It sounded like what was his name? Springtime with who's the comedian? Who's the, come on, someone help me. Who did, come on, Solar know that one. Springtime with the Germans. What was it? Come on, help me, you lot. You know I'm dyslexic. What was his name? The producer. Springtime with her. Come on, one of you will tell me. I know it. Come on. Show me your skills.
Hitler.
No. Come on.
That wasn't me. It was Colin.
Who was? Come on. Who did Blazing Saddles? Come on, you lot.
No, Blazing Saddles.
Who was the producer of Blazing Saddles? Come on. It's on the top of my head.
They're Googling it.
They're all Googling it now. Should we give a squirrel skin?
No.
Harry Hill? Freaking Harry Hill? Come on. One of you must know this. A lot of you are my age. Come on. Blazing Saddles. Who was the producer of Blazing Saddles? Go on. You can Google it if you want. Fed up. Come on. You can Google it. You got 50 minutes. You got 7 minutes to find the answer. No, it wasn't Richard Pryor. I'm talking about the producer. Mel. Yes. Come on. It was Mel Brooks, wasn't it? Mel Gibson? No, Mel Brooks, wasn't it? Mel Brooks, wasn't it? Yeah, well done. Chris Wheelhouse. Mel Brooks. That was it. Well done. Cool. When these things hit you, you're like, fucking, I've got to come off the top of your head, isn't it? Mel Brooks. Look at you all know now, you clever bastards. Lucky bleeders. Who said that then? There ain't not been some clever bastards. Lucky bleeders. Come on. That's not Mel Brooks. Come on, go for it. Fast as you like. I tell you what, we should have a music quiz, shouldn't we? I've got more knowledge of a music quiz than dog training at the moment. See, none of you can answer that. It's just, do you know the time lapse of 15 seconds? You're all Googling it, aren't you? His name's Ian. Come on. You see him in court. Come on. Ian Jury. Honestly, there's a time lapse here and it just gets slower and slower. Monty Python. Ian Jury. There you are. At least Soul knew it, thank God. Honestly, some of you, we lose you with their age. That's the problem, isn't it, really, when you think about it? We've had some brilliant music, haven't we, over the years? That's one thing I really enjoy still to this day. I still enjoy putting my earphones in and listening to me music. I do. When I was in the record shop and I was with music all day long, I never come home and listen to music. It was like a busman's holiday. But now I really miss me music. I really enjoy me music. I listen to a lot of music. It's one of them things to turn to switch off the mind a little bit. I think it's switching off the mind. So never heard of those. Sorry to say, Jim Townsend. Jim, you're just a youngster, really, aren't you? There you go. Jury was great, says Peter Piper. He was, wasn't he? Stop it. That was disgraceful. No, that's not disgraceful. That's the truth, wasn't it? Can I say what he was? No, can't, can I? Not really. But he had a sense of humour, didn't he? The Nolan sisters. Oh, frickin' come on. The bloody Nolan sisters. Sue watched a thing the other day with the Nolan sisters. I tell you what we did watch the other day and really enjoyed it. The Bee Gees. Didn't we, Sue?
Mm.
Our age, we love the Bee Gees. Ha, 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 staying alive. It's when they went high with those tight pants on in the 70s for disco dancing. Katie Upton, Mel Brooks didn't Google. You're a bit freaking late, aren't you? You're a bit slow on the ABBA. I tell you what, you can see the old farts in here, can't you? ABBA. Oulé la va. Reasons to be cheerful, part 3, says Julian Lees. There you go. There ain't off been some clever bastards, lucky bladers, lucky bladers. Hit me with your rhythm stick, says Andy. I know you. We know what you're like in Jersey, you dirty bastard. Hit me with your rhythm stick. Remember that. Right, said Fred would love that, wouldn't they? Did you do the tin of paint walk? Got me on that one. You got me on that one, Robert.
John Cooper, I think there should be an under 35 chat note. You've lost me now.
Yeah, John Cooper. There would be no one in it. Robert Jeffries, Bee Gees. Yeah. Anyway, I hope I've entertained you. We seem to not be doing a lot of talking about Gundogs lately. We talked about anyway. Should we go to sex now? We got 3 minutes left. Anybody having sexual problems during lockdown? If you'd like to talk about them on here, KLF. Yes, I love that. Moo Land. I love KLF. Moo Land. It's nice to be a lunatic. Yes, it is. Anyway, obviously no one wants to talk about sex. It's one of the most important things. Hey, come on, Sue. Can you read this one out, please, for Soul, please?
I was hoping you wouldn't want to say that.
Come on.
Hey, he was from my old school. Very interesting bloke. Billy Rickery, Dickley Lickery.
Yeah, that's his lyrics. You'd be surprised. I think there's more of us younger ones in here. John Cooper, see that there. Hi, here we go. Chris gets back on track again. Hi, I do dog walking, and I've just started taking a spaniel out for someone, and he's nervous around people and other dogs. How would I get him over this? How old is he, Chris? How old is he? You've got to introduce him to lots of other things and not make a big thing of it. Walk past other people, make nothing of it. Don't let him hesitate. There's a lot of things that you can do to get a dog from not being too soft and too shy. But I think the problem is with a lot of these softer dogs, that's what they're creating these days. Sorry?
6 years old.
The dog is 6 years old. Yeah, so you can be struggling there then, aren't you? Old habits are hard to break, as they say. Old habits are hard to break. But the thing is, the more you pamper those sort of dogs, the more they become a problem. I find that I had a love affair with Sheila in the back of the Cortina. Stop it, Soul. Now you're just giving your frigging age away now.
We have a question from Jeffro.
Jeffro Jackson, I love the tennis racket game with Nala, but should I keep this to only a few times a week to keep her keen, or should I do more if she's keen? Well, I find that the more I do it with the dogs, the more they get driven. But at some point, you're going to have to put the stop on the dog. And if you take the drive up to a silly level, then you can struggle if you don't know what you're doing to bring it back. But I can bring them back, no problem at all, Jeffro, and I can show you how to do it. But the thing is, what you don't want the dog to become obsessed by the game, because it can become obsessed, because success breeds success, and the problem is you can do too much of it if you're not careful. So there is a level. I probably take the tennis racket out with the dogs probably once or twice a week, and the reason that I do it with the dogs as a group is that I don't want them fighting. I want them sharing it. If I threw out a dummy and sent the dogs for it, you'd get another dog trying to grab it and another dog holding on to it, and they'd be pulling and all that sort of stuff. So I create that excitement and that competition with the ball, but I then take them out separately, and I will show you how to play the ball game. The dog's got to sit before the dog has the retrieve, and you're beginning to build the sit before you get the retrieve, and then you put the stop on the dog before you get the retrieve. But if you put the stop on the dog before you get the retrieve, what you create is you recreate a dog that drops short. And if you watch anybody who's trained the dog too soon with obedience, the dog drops short and starts to hunt before it gets to the ball. The dog that's been allowed to run out and learn the distance, it's learning that distance. So the more you can bang it out, especially with Labradors, because they can go long distance, you can get a Labrador to go a long distance. It's simple as that. So that's what I do with it. See, Michael says, so you need to keep your sex life to yourself, my boy. That's what we need to know. We don't want to know what you're up to, Doctor. Oh, it's not Doctor anymore, is it? You can't say Dr. Sol anymore. Good night, sweetheart. It's time to go. Good night, Colin. Have a nice one. Thanks a lot. Now, okay, so what we're going to do, if you want us to, we can go over to Call and Talk if you want, but we need 10 bollocks in a row. If we don't get 10 bollocks in a row, then I'm going to save you the time and the space, and vice versa. You can go and look after your loved ones, and then they can thank me later, because no one's got marriage guidance problems, have they? Because I would love to. There's one from Denver. We need 10 in a row. If we get 10 in a row, we'll go over to Call and Talk live, so we can have a chat and everybody can see each other on screen. We only got one. So if that's the case, we'll give it 10 seconds, because I know there's a time lapse here. There's a time lapse. We've got 61 people in the house, and we will go over and talk about something. I would actually like to talk to William George Webb about what he meant with Chris Ray's and Penny. Yeah, look, yeah, I'm married. There you go. So Simon Spruce messed that up, didn't he? So it looks like we need 10. If I don't get 10 within the next 7 seconds, we got 1, 2, 3. Then we'll leave it for tonight, and we'll have to do it another night. But if you want any advice on stopping the pup smashing into my knackers when returning to me and sitting down on legs out, yes. Watch a few of the martial art films with the sumo wrestlers, because they learn to tuck their knackers up. And if you tuck your knackers up, David Jones, you won't have that problem. But with a Corleone dog, you've got to say bollocks. You've got a Corleone dog now. It's just bollocks. So it's as simple as that. It's bollocks. And the dog knows what he's talking about, and so he keeps hitting them. So, ouch. But what we want, that clean retrieve, don't we, David? That's what we want. Always. How's your other pup? Which pup are we talking about here? Are we talking about Quinny's pup or the Corleone pup? Quinny's pup or the Corleone pup? Nope. Okay. So, okay, that's everybody. It's a 1 hour and 3 minutes. That's a thumbs down from Adam. Good old Adam. Honestly, I feel like a gladiator. Do you know what? I put a thing up on Patreon, everybody, Quinny's. I put up a thing on Patreon, everybody, it's about psychology. It's about coping with stress. It's about coping with today's problems, how to make yourself stronger, how to make yourself more cope with life better. I know it's not dog related, but it's human related. And I hope you listen to it, because parts of it is absolutely fantastic. The last 20 minutes is phenomenal. It reminded me of so much of today's pressures of life and how people seem to struggle with that. I mean, I don't know if Dr. Soul wanted to do a whole series about this, about why society these days can't cope with pressure, why society, or am I just being paranoid and society's never been able to cope with pressure? I think stress is a good thing for you. It's knowing how to handle stress. It's knowing how to cope with stress. I think when you're put under stress and your natural animal instincts have to survive, I think stress is a brilliant tool, you know, but it seems to kill some people, and other people, bollocks, I'm away to catch up on Patreon, he says. There you go. And what I'm saying is I think stress is a wonderful thing, and I think it's done down in itself, really, because animals survive really well under stress because it's fight for survival, isn't it? And you know, they'll sit tight till the last second and then bolt. And that adrenaline, well, under pressure, that's when they become, it keeps you on edge. Thank you so much, David. That's what I was looking for. See what I'm saying? Just such a simple thing, and it keeps you on the edge. Let me just say, when I used to go sailing single-handed, and you get 4 hours on and 4 hours off sailing, because you don't really sleep deep. You sleep very light because you hear the sails, you hear the autopilot, you know when something's gone wrong. You can actually hear the sound of other boats coming towards you if they've got engines on through the hull of the boat. All your senses just become like so brilliant, and you don't realize that until you're really put under that. And sleep deprivation is another thing, isn't it? Sleep deprivation is a thing that they torture people with, don't they? And they play loud music and all that sort of stuff, and they bombard them. And that thing I put up on Patreon, although it's 2 hours long, I don't know if you people will find it just so boring because it's just too much OTT, as they say. Is that what they say? But I find that sort of stuff really, really interesting to listen to. It's the sort of stuff I listen to. And there's a guy who's just wrote a book. His name's David, and he ex-military, and he's talking about pushing the human body to extremes that you just don't realize you can go to. But unless you push yourself, you don't realize how much your body will actually cope with that stress. And that, Graham Allison said, very good listen. It is if you sit and listen to it and take it in as in the concept of life, because I believe that, you know, life's changing for all of us, isn't it? Where did you find the video? Well, I listened to stuff because going back to what they were talking about and learning to cope with stress and learning to be able to live with stress. If you're dealing with customers, and it's not at the moment, because if you've got like 7 people on the calendar for one day, and you've got 7 different people all wanting instant information from you with their dog, and you put so much effort into training the dog and putting it into the person, you burn yourself out if you're not careful. I have to limit myself, and I have to go. I joke about it, but I'm serious about it because I'm dyslexic. I have to go to my dark room. I have to sit down and relax. It doesn't mean I sleep. It doesn't mean I go into a deep sleep, but I put something on to change the mindset, and I can sometimes listen to it in the background and soak it all in. And so I like listening to podcasts, as simple as that. And I like listening to life stories and how people have learned to cope with life and stress. And people say to you, yeah, but you cause your own stress. I think stress is good for you. I think that's why John Wilson likes taking on those, you know, fanny feeders, you know, those fur baby lovers. He loves to go on them women's sites of those grooming. He likes to groom them all. He likes to groom them because he knows he can say a few words and have them all coming after him. And I think he likes to be chased. I think he likes to be chased. And I think that what I find a lot of things interesting, you would do well in
Guatemala.
Do you know what? Some people have been in Guatemala Bay. There was a bloke in there. He'd been in there for, I think, 16 years or something like that, right? He come out. He was the nicest bloke I've ever met. He said, you know, it was one of them things. I was a Muslim, and they thought I was a terrorist, and they've released me, and I'm trying to come to England. They won't let me come to England, but I've been found not guilty. Well, they didn't even take him to court, did they? They just locked him up.
And David Bolton said you're a lightweight because Ben can do 60 a day.
That's it. That is the whole point, isn't it? When you think about it, I am a lightweight because I'm talking about 7, and that's a headache. But Ben can do 60 a day. Ben can see 60 dogs a day.
Yeah, but it all depends
with 60
on the
people.
content.
Oh, this is it, isn't it? I mean, if you're just sitting there having gin and tonics, you're going to be pissed with 60 customers, aren't you? Like, fucking, oh, hey, one. I'm not going to mention who it was, but somebody told me that this is a story I was told. Now, I'm not making this up. This is exactly as it went. And they said he went to his place and he just put his head on his, and he was sitting on his Chesterfield. And he was, said, "What are you doing, Ben?" He says, "Where's your dog?" He says, "He's in the car." He says, "I'm communicating with him." Jesus Christ, honestly. It's like that. It's David Icke, innit? Freaking hell. Remember David Icke, the sports commentator? Bloody hell. If you start listening to him, you turn into a right fucking fruit bat, innit? Hey? But actually, you might have a point, mind you. Conspiracy theories and all that shit. Anyway, he loves an argument. What? He loves an argument. Who? Ben don't love an argument. We don't even know what position he played in rugby, do we? I was a winger. I was a pretty boy. Yes, you can tell. Look at my ears. Look. No one got my freaking ears. No. 60 people feeding their dogs sounds easy, Chris. Yeah, this is it. This is it, isn't it? I mean, not being funny, but if you've got a problem, ring me. You know, if I'm in the field with me freaking dogs, I'll stop and I'll answer your freaking phone. You know, my app. Ring me. I'll tell you to fuck off. Guess what? I don't take my phone with me when I'm training fucking dogs. If I took my fucking phone with me, I don't go, hang on, mate. Sorry about that. Well, have you tried pulling back the foreskin? Put some Vaseline on the dog when you put it in. It'll slip in easier.
What if you're out of Wi-Fi?
What if you're out of Wi-Fi? They wouldn't be answering them, would they? Yeah, but what I'm saying, everyone, I put my phone and leave it at home when I'm training a customer. Do you know why? I think it's rude if I'm answering the phone non-stop to customers. When I come home, I've got to answer 30 calls or 30 emails. But I tell you what, it does piss me off a little bit when a customer's having a lesson with me and his phone's ringing all the time. Hang on, Chris, I've just got to take this. Okay, lovely. I'm going to stand over there like a freaking lemon. It does piss me off a little bit. But what you get with me, warts and all, everybody, I say it the way it is. I say it the way it is. I honestly hope that Ben finds happiness in his app. Right, but if you've got 60 people and 60 dogs to deal with every day,
you'll be going through a lot of gin.
And he's got his app, and he's traveling worldwide teaching people from Alaska to Timbuktu. Then what does he need an app for? It's all about the money. Anyway, on that note, before they line me up and shoot me with a firing squad.
They already have, haven't they?
No, they blindfolded me, but I just kept laughing. They let me go. Because they've already said they want me in Guantanamo Bay. Honestly. I would just do the God's ending, wouldn't I, if I was locked up in there, wouldn't I?
Oh, Denver's got a question.
They'd give me early release, wouldn't they? Money, money, money. That's it. That's the way. It's all about the money. How much for the children?
Before you go, Denver's got a question.
Okay, Denver's got a question. Denver's got a question. Chris, my Springer is about 9 months. When I let him run in, he gets to the full. Sometimes I hold him while I throw it. Then he drops short. Do I stop that? Or will he learn with age? No, that's the whole point, Denver. 9 months old is still a baby. Let him run and get to the full. If you're going to hold on to the dog, throw out the ball, turn round just once, face where you threw the ball, but you've only thrown it out. You've not hit it with a tennis racket. And then let him go and let him find it close in and let him put his head down and start to hunt now at that age. And you'll find you're getting the dog to hunt around your feet because you're not throwing it very far. So instead of whether you're doing a racket and you let it go a long distance, you learn to get to the full. That's conditioning him to do that. But if you do it under your arm, throw it out no more than 20 feet, turn around once, put the dog down and say, get out. Because he's lost the mark, he'll have to hunt for it, but he's finding it in that area where you can shoot. If you're banging it out with a tennis racket, you're pushing it away from the dog and you're pushing the dog away from the shot, really, if you think about it. So that's the way I do it with a youngster. If you want to get the youngster hunting around your feet. And that's what I do with that sort of age of dog, 9 months of age. You're starting to put the stop on it. And then when you put the long line on it and you stand on the long line, you throw it out 25 feet and the dog hits the end of the long line, he knows not to push, then you can step off the long line, send him, and he learned that even though he's got a long line on, when you give him the command, he can go, but when you don't give him the command, he doesn't go. It's as simple as that. Anyway, I hope you've all enjoyed that. That's 1 hour and 14 minutes and 59 seconds. So you owe me 15 minutes of my time. And there's 26 thumbs up. I just think you're so tight, or I'm so useless. I mean, this is the problem, isn't it? I mean, if it was Ben, he would have had 60 people in here and 62 likes, because he would have put 2 himself. So on that note, good night, everybody. Chris Upton signing off. Let me just say, there's only 40 people in here. Why do I go on about Ben? Because I don't like people thinking they're above everybody else. On that note, good night all. Chris Upton signing off.